and I ended up in front of the Art Institute of Chicago. And I just walked inside, and I didn't feel like I had any place being there. And they used to ask you for a donation, you know, when you walk into a museum, and I didn't. I just walked right through because I was ready to die and pretty much dead.
And I ended up in front of the Art Institute of Chicago, and I just walked inside, and I didn't feel like I had any place being there. And they used to ask you for a donation, you know, when you walk into a museum, and I didn't. I just walked right through it because I was ready to die and pretty much dead. Sad stuff. 𝐷𝐈 asked a really good question. Why do these really great, you know, funny guys think about death? Why? Why is that? Yeah. There's a lot of talk about that. The Art Institute of Chicago. Yeah, you guys did really good. Once again, there were lots of mistakes. Don't be, you know, discouraged. Don't be depressed. The more mistakes you have, the more you're going to learn. But something very important. Let's say you made 1 million mistakes. Good. That's fine. I'm going to give you the answers. Okay? If your mistakes are vocabulary, don't worry about it. If they're phrases, don't worry about it. If they're proper nouns, don't worry about it. But if your mistakes are like, I didn't feel like I had any place being there. Now, these words are simple. Maybe this is actually an expression, so it might be a little bit difficult to understand, but the words are simple, right? The words. Nothing new. So what we need to do in your case, if you made mistakes here, don't worry about the meaning. Just practice the words with me. Just practice them, okay? And, you know, you might not be good. That's okay. That's why I have 2 assignments every week. Lots of practice. Just forget about it. Do this assignment, and then next week, Monday, forget about this one, okay? And then next week, Thursday, forget about Monday assignment. Just keep going. Keep going. That's the idea. Keep going. It's very important when I give you the answers, I want you to practice saying it with me. Repeat after me. Okay? Don't worry about the meaning. Just repeat after me. And then listen again, in this case, to Bill Murray. And can you hear it? You still might not hear everything, but can you hear most of it? 80%. That's the only goal you should have if you're having a hard time. Trust me, after several months, it's going to get easier. Your dictation still might be bad. Don't worry about that. Seriously, don't worry. The dictation, sometimes, you know, it's just tough. But your understanding of the story and your comfort with English is going to improve. And with that confidence, you will improve. Now, the next stage would be to speak more. So obviously LTA is important and live classes is important. But I know a lot of you, if you join the live classes, you're probably pretty quiet. And some people talk a lot, right? You need to talk. You need to just build confidence. LTA, talk. You need to talk. Start using these expressions. You know, try and use them. It'll happen. Don't worry. All right, so let's go back here. So, and I ended up, obviously the D, 99% of the time, this D is gone. Now, we can keep it. We can say and I, but I'm pretty sure Bill said, and I ended up. Really tough to hear the D. Again, tough. Ended up, linking. And I ended up in front of the T's gone. The N kills it. We know the rules. Strong sound N. Strong sound N. Strong sound N. In front of the. We know the rule V and then followed by a consonant, right? Of, apostrophe VE, have. If the next word begins with a consonant, we can cancel. Sometimes even if it's a vowel, we cancel. But especially if there's a consonant, V is a consonant. Front of the, it's the art. And I ended up in front of the Art Institute of Chicago. Art Institute of Art Institute. We can cancel this V too. Look at all the cancellations. And I ended up in front of that Art Institute, in front of the Art Institute of Chicago. And I ended up in front of the Art Institute of Chicago. And I ended up, great expression, in front of something, great phrase. And actually it's the Art Institute of Chicago. So we got that. So most of you have probably never used any of those, the yellow, the blue, or the white, right? Have you? If you've said, and I ended up in real life, you and your conversations, then you heard it. If you've used in front of, in real life, in your conversations, then you heard it. And if you've been to or seen or said the Art Institute of Chicago, you heard it. But this simple sentence, most of you, when speaking English naturally, have never used none of it. The yellow phrase, the blue phrase, and the white section. So in LTA, when you're in a live class, use them. Use them. Use them. Figure out a way. And I ended up in front of the Art Institute of Chicago. And I just walked inside. Again, we got cancellation. Walked in, and I just walked inside. And I didn't feel, N cancels the D. I don't want that. Get out of here. There. And the T. And I didn't feel like I had any place being there. We can even cancel the TH. So these are all possible cancellations. And I just walked inside, and I didn't feel like I had, we can cancel this H2, like I had any place being there. And the N is going to cancel the D, and the N can cancel the TH. And they used to ask, put it together, they used to ask you for a donation, you know, when you walk into a museum, and I didn't, I just walked right through. Stop sound, walked, but we don't finish the T. Walked right through. He says it. And I don't think anybody got it. Yeah, I need to make that. And I just walked right through it because, so here's a question. He says it. What's it? He said it. I don't think anybody did. Any of you dictate this word? I don't think so. I just walked right through it because I was ready to die and pretty much did. 2 times. And I ended up, this is the result. Where did he arrive? I ended up in front of the Art Institute of Chicago. It's a museum. And I just walked inside. And I didn't feel like I had any place being there. Yeah. You know, if we think about a museum, an art museum, as an adult, not as a child, but as an adult, we should probably wear nice clothes. We should probably be educated, interested in art, you know, the amazing ability of painters and whatnot. And he was a guy thinking about suicide. He's a comedian, actor, a terrible actor. He didn't belong there. Why was he there? He felt as though he didn't belong there. He didn't have any place there. He was not supposed to be there. And the museum, they used to ask you for a donation, you know, when you walk into a museum. Now you have to buy a ticket. But a long time ago, museums were free. But as you enter the museum, they would ask for a donation. There's a cup or an envelope. There's a sign. Sometimes there's people, but usually there's a sign. Please give us a donation. And I didn't. I just walked right through it. And I asked you, what does the word it mean? It means the entrance. the donation area, the reception area. I just walked right through it. I skipped the donation because I was ready to die and pretty much dead. I was pretty much lifeless. I was a zombie just walking in there.
And I ended up in front of the Art Institute of Chicago. And I just walked inside, and I didn't feel like I had any place being there. And they used to ask you for a donation, you know, when you walk into a museum. And I just walked right through because I was ready to die and pretty much dead. And I ended up in front of the Art Institute of Chicago. And I just walked inside, and I didn't feel like I had any place being there. And they used to ask you for a donation, you know, when you walk into a museum. And I just walked right through because I was ready to die and pretty much dead.